self-esteem is something that you continuously have to work on throughout your lifespan. And, you know, that in a child work, and like you just talking there about experiences from grade school and other
right.
of schooling, sometimes people don't realise exactly how much those can impact on them still. And I think a lot of people also try and minimise or, you know, try and deny, I shouldn't still feel like that because this happened 10 years ago, or this happened 20 years ago, or even longer, you know, depending on your age. But actually, you know, that's why inner child work can be so powerful as well, and realise, you know, that child is still part of you. How do you nurture that part of you? How do you help them to heal? How do you look after and support them? And that's why self-esteem is a journey that lasts almost forever.
Yeah. Welcome to Next Level You podcast. I'm Stefanie Dingbaum, your host, your biggest cheerleader, and your go-to girlfriend for real, raw, and uplifting conversations about leveling up in life. As a mental health therapist with over a decade of experience and a business coach helping women elevate their lives and businesses, I'm here to guide you through the mindset shifts, holistic practices, and manifestation tools you need to step into your most authentic, next level self. Whether you're here to ignite your personal growth, elevate your professional game, or simply rediscover you, this podcast is your invitation to dream bigger, go after your goals, and unapologetically claim the life you deserve. So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive in. It's time to up-level, manifest, and glow. Hello. Welcome to the Next Level You podcast. Stefanie Dingbaum here. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I have a really special guest on today. I have Natasha Page here. And just to give you a brief introduction, I mean, I don't know a ton about Natasha. I literally came upon her page. I saw, I don't know if it was an ad or what, but I saw something called My Little Therapy Box on Instagram. And this was like in the beginning, right after I started my private practice. So I was going on searching for therapists, just trying to add like any therapist I could find, just because it's always fun to see like what other therapists post for content. So anyways, I came upon My Little Therapy Box and I was like, what is this? This is so cool, you know? And so then it led me to her page. I checked out her website. And so My Little Therapy Box is literally a tool for therapists, but also for people who attend therapy. And it really intrigued me. And so I was like, this is perfect. Like every therapist needs one of these. And it led me to kind of going down this rabbit hole of researching about Natasha. And then I did add her on Instagram as well. And she has this really awesome business. And so after rebranding the podcast, I was like, I got this nudge from the universe and I was like, ooh, I wonder if she, like in my mind, Natasha is at this level as a therapist that I'm not quite at yet. I feel like, you know, she's got this successful, thriving business. And so I thought like, what are the chances that she would agree to coming on my podcast? Like, I don't know. She's in a whole different country than me. Like, I'm just going to try. I'm just going to see, put it out there. Worst thing she can say is no, not a big deal. So anyways, I messaged her and she totally took me up on the offer. And so you guys, I have Natasha here today to share a little bit about her business and just to talk about, you know, all things therapy and becoming the best version of yourself as an entrepreneur as well. Natasha, why don't you give an introduction for yourself?
Great, thank you. Well, thank you for such a warm welcome, first of all, Stefanie. So I'm Natasha Page. I'm a psychotherapist. I'm also a self-development and business coach. And first of all, I just want to say how lovely it is. Like, you know, I think it's a wonderful thing when entrepreneurs, and especially female entrepreneurs, support one another, because I've had mixed experiences in business where some people are really helpful and really want to support you on your journey, and I've had the opposite where people aren't so helpful and don't want to help you on your journey. And I just think there's so much power in supporting one another as females and especially as female entrepreneurs. So I just thought I wanted to reflect on what you were just talking about there, Stefanie. So it's a pleasure to be here today. You know, and I know that whatever phase you are at your business, you're in just the right place, and that there's going to be a great journey ahead of you for your career and your entrepreneurship journey. And yeah, this podcast is clearly part of that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So why don't you share a little bit about my little therapy box and just give a spiel about that?
Yeah, so my little therapy box, I created this resource in 2020.
Oh,
2020, the pinnacle year of COVID
yeah.
taking hold. I don't think we can all forget that in a
Yeah.
hurry. But that was a year where I actually read the book, and this is a great book again for entrepreneurs. The Marie Forleo book, which is called, now I'm going to forget the name, of course, aren't I? I know it. Everything is figure outable. How
Oh,
good.
yes. Yes.
Figured it
Okay. I'm
out.
going to put that in show
Everything is
notes.
figure outable. And it was that book that really started to get me thinking about my own journey as a therapist and as an entrepreneur. And I'd been sitting on this idea of my little therapy box for a very long time. I actually started to think about this idea probably 3-4 years before I actually brought it into the world. But it was reading this book by Marie that was saying, you know, if you have got an idea that you feel, I guess, called to do, then you either need to get on and do it, or you just need to not do it and
Right.
forget doing it. And I thought, well, if that desire, that you know, that pull to put something in the world is so strong, then I just need to do this. And I think 2020 was such a year of reflection for many of us all over the world, because we were experiencing something that we'd never experienced before. And it just really got me thinking, you know, what am I leaving in the world after, I guess my legacy. What am I going to contribute to the world that's going to last a lot longer than I am? And so it sort of inspired me after reading that book to get my little therapy box out into the world. So I'll tell you a little bit about that, shall I?
Yeah, please do.
So it was born from my work of working with clients in therapy and realizing that sometimes when clients first enter therapy, they don't know what to talk about. They don't know how to use the space. It can feel quite alien to a
Yes.
newcomer to therapy. It can feel quite
Yes.
scary and daunting. And obviously you've sat in front of a total stranger in that first session. And sometimes clients don't know where to start. So I was aware of resources that I'd use in therapy called emotion cards that
Yep.
typically help a client to identify what feelings they may be experiencing.
Yeah.
And they're great, and I do still use those as well. But I felt like there was something sometimes missing, that actually sometimes people needed to just come to therapy and say, look, these areas of my life are not going well, and this is actually what I want to talk about. Or sometimes clients who maybe don't know how to bring up a certain subject, subjects that can be quite difficult.
Yeah.
Again, the mileage therapy box gives them permission to start discussing those things. So it's a selection of 40 like cue cards, if you like. They've all got lovely illustrations on. And then they've literally got themes on that are all themes I have worked with in therapy. And I'm sure, Stefanie, you will have probably worked with the majority of these themes as well. But from everything from, not being able to control anger to fear of commitment, anxiety. I'm just reading through a few that are in my hand right now.
Yeah.
Shyness, lack of sleep. So it's basically a collection of different themes, and there are more serious ones in there as well, like self-harm and suicidal thoughts. And it can just give the person, I guess, a bit of a starting point of what they're struggling with.
Yeah, I love that. I love that whole concept. And, you understand better than most, like as a therapist, that first session after the intake can be very awkward for people, especially if they've never experienced counseling before. And not everybody understands that, well, I'm always letting clients know in the intake, like, I let you run the show. I'll always have something in the back of my mind that I want to work on with you, but ultimately you come in and you tell me what direction we're going to go. But it's not, we're not like sitting at the dinner table having just normal dinner table conversation. We're talking about in-depth stuff here. And so it's not that easy to just go right into, a traumatic childhood experience or, domestic violence situation. And it's not just that easy to just jump into something like that, especially because you are still building rapport. You are still getting to know each other.
Yeah.
And so a concept like my little therapy box, an actual like physical entity like that really helps to kind of break the ice a little bit. It helps to maybe let the client relax a little bit, let your hair down, and just know like, it's okay. Like, we're just going to go with the flow. Like, the relationship will get there. Just let's just get to know each other a little bit,
Yes, exactly that. And, and it also gives permission for them to, to show you perhaps what's something that they're struggling with, but also gives them permission to not go into depth with that right now. That they're fully in control of what we talk about in the therapy session. As any therapist will know, it's really important that the client feels in control. But these cards, I've been told, I've had emails of people that have used them with like young people, for example, in school, where they've been able to share that they've been self-harming because it's felt a safe way for them to be able to communicate that with someone. I also use them with adults as well, people that may not be able to articulate themselves or just find talking really awkward. It can, like you say, be a bit of an icebreaker into some some difficult subjects. So it's not to make light of the subjects, but it's really to help to show that it's okay to talk about these things when you're ready to.
I love it. Love that. So let me ask you, when did you first start your private practice?
So let me just rewind the clock.
Yeah.
Remember when? So I started my private practice solely on my own. So I qualified as a therapist in 2013.
Okay.
And I started my own private practice in 2017, I think it was, or 16. Okay. It was probably 16. But then fully, it was 2016.
Yeah,
And then I really fully fledged sort of left my employment role because I was kind of juggling both at one time. In 2018, I became totally self-employed and I was scared. It was scary.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a leap of faith.
I wouldn't change it for the world now. It's, my journey, which I'm sure we'll get into more into the podcast, has been, really amazing. I'm doing some amazing things and really feel I'm embracing, my experience as a therapist and as a coach as well.
I love it. So what is your ideal client or your niche in the private practice?
So in private practice, I don't have a niche as such in terms of I do work with all different issues, but I guess my niche would be, it is self-esteem.
Yeah.
So I do work with all clients with all different issues, but something I really, enjoy or feel called to support is people with low self-esteem, because this is a journey that I've been through myself.
Yeah.
And actually it was through my own sessions of therapy in my early 20s that led me into wanting to become a therapist myself. And it was through those initial sessions of therapy that I went to therapy not really knowing what was wrong, not really knowing what I was going to use therapy for. But then realising that actually at the heart of a lot of my issues and a lot of my distress was low self-esteem, but I didn't actually realise that. And so that's something I'm really passionate about as well, is helping clients and helping people to realise, make that connection between the relationship they have with themselves and then perhaps other struggles they're having.
Absolutely.
Depression, anxiety, etc.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about that specific area, self-esteem specifically, is I don't think there's anyone on this planet that doesn't from time to time suffer from low self-esteem. I mean, it's very much, we're talking self-worth when we talk about self-esteem. And, I actually am just finishing up reading Worthy by Jamie Kern. I don't know if you've got that book. Yeah. And so even though my niche is anxiety, it's every single client that I work with has some self-worth issues. And so we touch on it, whether that's the plan initially or not, whether it's in the treatment plan or not, we end up touching on self-worth and self-esteem because everybody to an extent struggles with it.
Yeah.
And that book has really opened my eyes to realize, like, if we don't have that strong foundation, if that self-worth foundation is cracked or is not fully like sustainable, then no amount of self-confidence can sit on top of that.
Yeah.
Like that foundation has to be solid, has to be there. So I just feel like that niche, so to speak, like you're never going to run out of clients because just everybody to an extent needs to work on that, I feel.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, you know, and it really is something I feel called to work with. And I get a lot of satisfaction and fulfillment from supporting clients and seeing changes that they make when they start to feel better about themselves and they start to build a stronger relationship with themselves and start to realize why they've been feeling the way they do about themselves, what things in their past have sort of contributed to the here and now. It's very powerful work that I find very, very rewarding. So
I agree. It's so funny. I love hearing you say that because I've only been in private practice for a year and a half, but it's like I never get sick of that personal satisfaction I get from seeing a client make progress or seeing a client like from 1 month to the next, like just truly come out of their shell and, you know, break free from some of these limiting beliefs that they've been holding on to or low self-esteem or whatever it may be. And I think what makes somebody like you and I such a great practitioner is, you know, I chose to specialize in anxiety because I know I used to suffer from anxiety and I've overcome anxiety and I no longer live with anxiety. And so I just feel like who better to go to than somebody who's been where you've been, you know, who better to help you overcome your low self-esteem than somebody who's overcome it themselves.
Yes.
You know,
so
what was your story like? Like you said you used to struggle with that. Like what was that journey or what was that story like for you?
Yeah. So for me, like I said, in my early 20s, I didn't really recognise it was low self-esteem. It was at the heart of how I was feeling when I went through my period of depression. But I think, you know, the journey with my self-esteem started, as it does for many of us, in childhood, specifically around the time of sort of being around age 10, where I was bullied. I got bullied like from like my size. I can remember we had to go on like the scales at school, like weighing scales. I don't know why we were even doing this.
I agree.
We were doing this and then a boy noticed how much I weighed in comparison to perhaps other people. But bearing in mind, I'm tall as well, so you know, I'm probably not meant to weigh like a feather.
Right.
And I know that now, but of course, as a young person at age 10, and you're in that phase of, you know, starting to hit puberty and your body's starting to change anyway. And, you know, they're just nasty, just making really horrible comments. And it just sort of stuck for weeks and weeks, which, you know, is classed as bullying. And then I experienced it going into secondary school, is what we call over here. What do you call your college?
So after grade level or after elementary school here, it's middle school and then high school. But yeah, I have a cousin that lives out there.
So into high school in my teen years, I also experienced bullying as well. So, and it was like in the form of a friendship. So it was more like a frenemy. So it was really subtle things. And that can be really confusing as a young person because you're kind of friends, but then they're doing things to you that don't feel friendly. You know, like, for example, taking CDs and saying that she was getting a CD. I mean, we don't even have CDs these days.
I know.
Showing my age, but we did when I was at school. So borrowing a CD and then never getting it back. Asking if, you know, she could have a bit of money for like school dinner money off me. Yeah. You know, but it done in subtle ways. I guess I felt quite scared, you know, and I did start to feel this sense of unworthiness, as you touched upon the book of Worthy. That sense of unworthiness really connects with self-esteem, not feeling good enough, not feeling lovable, not feeling like, sometimes just not feeling like you fit in the world. And, you know, being of mixed heritage as well, being mixed race, there's a whole nother level of complexity as well, because at times often feeling like I didn't always fit with sort of, if you like, the white side of me, but also not maybe the black side of me. So it could be very confusing as well. I think in that, that era of being a teenager and finding out who I was. So that was sort of the start of like my self-esteem journey. Then I was in a relationship at a young age and not treated very kindly. I got married to this person, and he actually cheated on me within the first year of our marriage, which again is like devastating in terms of your self-esteem. I did go back into the relationship. We did repair the relationship for some time, and I thought I could kind of move forward in the relationship, and we did. And my eldest daughter is from this relationship, so no regrets there, because I love my eldest daughter. I've got 2 children now, one from a new marriage. So no regrets there. But in terms of when I now look back as an adult on that relationship, I know that I tolerated behaviour that wasn't right, and I know that I probably should have exited probably 5 years earlier, but I didn't. And I really feel at the core of that was the relationship I had with myself. The thoughts that I told myself: if you come out of this relationship, you're a failure. If you're not in this relationship, you'll never find anyone else because you're not lovable, you're not good enough. So it's it's only years on that I can kind of look back and reflect and make those connections. Because sometimes when you're in it, you just don't see that. And that's why therapy can be so powerful as well, because it can help us to start to raise that awareness of how deep-rooted, our relationship with ourselves and our low self-esteem may be playing a part in our life.
That's a powerful story. And, what's so relatable about that is so many people carry a wound from grade school or middle school or high school or whatever year, like so many people carry wounds from those early experiences with peers. And if you don't, I feel like I'm constantly telling clients, like, if you don't bring healing to that, you are going to think low of yourself. You are going to carry that story or that identity that I'm not enough, or I'm not good enough for X, Y, or Z, whatever that story is for you, and ultimately you can't love someone beyond the level that you love yourself. And so if you're carrying this identity that I'm not good enough, well, you're not able to love yourself beyond that level, then you're not going to be able to love somebody at the level that they deserve, and ultimately you're doing yourself a disservice, that person a disservice. But a lot of people, I feel, try to supplement the lack of self-worth with love in a relationship, not realizing that, you have to be able to love yourself first. And so it's a hard lesson to learn, but that's a powerful story. And I feel like I'm assuming a lot of your clients, you could definitely relate to what I'm assuming a lot of your clients have gone through, just with having that lived experience.
100%. And, every client that I work with, especially in the group coaching that I do, which I'll probably get on to tell you about soon, I really do like to express to them that I'm on this journey with them. That self-esteem is something that you continuously have to work on throughout your lifespan, because also we experience different relationships with ourselves as well at different stages of our life as well. And the inner child work, and like you just talking there about experiences from grade school and other points of schooling, sometimes people don't realise exactly how much those can impact on them still. And I think a lot of people also try and minimise or try and deny, I shouldn't still feel like that because this happened 10 years ago, or this happened 20 years ago, or even longer, depending on your age. But actually, that's why inner child work can be so powerful as well, and realising, that child is still part of you. How do you nurture that part of you? How do you help them to heal? How do you look after and support them? And that's why self-esteem is a journey that lasts almost forever. It is forever.
Just
well
said. I love doing inner child work. I am so passionate about that work. I don't know, I get a lot of fulfillment from it because I just feel like it's not something people are always privy to, that we have this, if we carry a wound from childhood, that we have this inner child who is hurting and potentially yearning for love inside of us. And I don't know, there's so much work that can be done with that. And I love going in and addressing the inner child. So I love that you brought that up. Are you ready to step into your most abundant next level self? What if I told you that what you wear and surround yourself with can actually help you manifest the life of your dreams? That's exactly why I'm so excited to share Future Self Apparel with you. It is a manifestation-focused lifestyle brand designed to empower you with affirmations, intentional products, and daily reminders to live your most abundant life. As a mindset and manifestation coach, I always preach about embodying your future self now. And that's exactly what this brand helps you do. Whether it's through affirmation-infused apparel, high vibrational products, or mindset-shifting reminders, everything Future Self creates is designed to elevate your energy, align you with your desires, and help you become the person you are meant to be. Here's what makes Future Self Apparel so powerful. Every piece is created with intention, infused with positive affirmations and a manifestation energy. Wearing or using these products is a tangible way to embody your highest self daily. It's not just clothing, you guys. It's a mindset shift, helping you stay aligned with your goals and abundance. I've been obsessed with Future Self Apparel as of just recently because it aligns perfectly with the work I do, helping women build confidence, rewire their beliefs, and create the life they've always dreamed of. So, if you're ready to step into your highest timeline and become the future self you've been manifesting, then this brand, this company is for you. Head to the link in today's show notes to shop Future Self Apparel and start living as the most confident, abundant, and aligned version of you. So, switching gears, let's talk about your coaching business. How did you get into coaching, and how's that been going for you? I want to hear all about it.
So I've been coaching now for a couple of years. I've trained as a business coach,
Awesome.
but then I've kind of, I like to class myself as a self-development and business coach because there's something about just working with people as well on their self-development, whether that be in their business or whether it just be their personal development journey.
Yeah.
I trained as a business coach because of my love for business and entrepreneurship. Running my own business as well. To be honest, I thought it may, by training as a business coach, I thought it may help me in my own business as well. So
I get it.
From all angles, it just felt like the right thing for me to do. So this has been a new direction for me over the last couple of years. Just really love it. I love business. I love connecting with other entrepreneurs and especially female entrepreneurs. So it just felt like a really natural fit for me.
Very cool. I love it. So are you doing therapy part-time and business coaching part-time?
Yeah, so I tend to, I do work with both clientele. I tend to have half of the week where I'm working in my business, and then on Thursdays and Fridays, it's like sometimes it's just leisure time. I have been, for the last last 3 months, I've been running some coaching sessions, group coaching sessions for women.
Awesome.
And it's a project that's actually, in America, obviously it's a different lottery system, but over here we have a thing called the Big Lottery, and they have they provide funding for projects and for community interest projects. And I've got a company that is a community interest company. And so last year I was applied for this funding to support women with their self-esteem. Again, just something I felt called to do.
Yeah.
And it was a really big deal for me to apply for this funding, because it meant sort of really changing up other areas of my business. So it was quite a leap, and I didn't know if I'd get the funding. I didn't know if they'd sort of see the value in this.
Yeah.
But they did. And it's been amazing because I'm now delivering sessions to women around their self-esteem. And doing these online group coaching sessions, taking them through a program. So it's an 8-week program, and they don't have to pay for it. It's all funded.
Wow.
So that's amazing, because to be able to give something to them is just, it's so lovely. And
that is amazing. Very cool. So you do, is it primarily group, or do you, excuse me, is it primarily group coaching, or is it also individual coaching?
So this project is group coaching. I do offer private coaching as well, as a separate
That's so great.
stream in my business. That. Yes.
Okay, very cool. Okay, so as a coach, I can imagine, I'm assuming you do, I know you focus on self-esteem, but do you find you do a lot of work around mindset with your coaching clients?
Yes.
It's such a big area. Hugely. How can you not, right?
Hugely, yeah. And through my own entrepreneurship journey, and my up and coming book, although it's like 11 months ahead still, that we've got to wait for this book to be born into the world. My own journey of entrepreneurship, and actually getting to a place where I was really feeling stuck in my business at times, and like striving and wanting it to be at a certain place, and feeling like I wasn't getting anywhere at times. And then I realised, again, at the heart of this was really linked to my own mindset and my own self-esteem. And I was like, oh, hello.
Yes.
Okay, it's this again. And so it's through that I start to think, I'm sure there's many others, a bit like we were talking about before we came on air, Stefanie.
Yeah.
Talking about other entrepreneurs that you'd been talking to, and like realising their limiting beliefs. And I felt, well, if I'm feeling like this, I know there must be other women that are sort of experiencing the same in their own businesses, but then widely just other women generally, struggling with these feelings of self-esteem, and actually feeling that it's really holding you back in your development in life, or in your business, or whatever you want to be achieving. So that was really where I felt like, again, a calling to put this into a book and to start to share my story, which is something I never really dreamed of. And that, I know you were aware of sort of, I do believe in like the law of attraction, and it really was the start of my, I guess, toying with sort of the law of attraction. Like, awesome. I've had this thought of like writing a book, and I'm like, really? Like, you want me to write a book? How on earth? How can I write a book? I've also got dyslexia, just to throw that into the bit, just to let you know that, because that also did play a part in my self-esteem journey as well at school. And I didn't know I had dyslexia until I was 26.
Wow, so 26.
Yeah, 26. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Until then, So I thought, I can't write a book. That's impossible. But then I thought, well, no, I had a word with myself, and I thought, no, but you have always enjoyed, actually, you've always enjoyed English at school. You've always actually had a bit of a knack for the written word. And just because I am dyslexic, why am I putting myself down like that? But we do this, don't we? We do do this. And so it is, really important to work on that mindset. And of course, not everyone has the awareness and tools that, I have as a therapist.
Yes.
And even I struggle. So, even as a therapist, if I struggle, your next door neighbour who's not got a clue about therapeutic practices, how are they going to work through these feelings? How is, how is someone else going to sort of work through that mindset stuff when they may not even be aware of what's going on?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think as a therapist, sometimes it's so easy to forget that not everybody has like the self-control and the mindset just in general. Like, my husband's always reminding me, like, when we're talking about people who struggle maybe with overcoming certain obstacles in life, he's always like, just remember, like, not everybody has worked on their mindset like you have. Like, I know it comes easy to you because you've done the work, but not everybody's at your level. And it's a good reminder, because to me, it's like, well, why don't they just tell themselves they can do this? Like, why are they, and
Radio
I just, it's not that easy. I get it. But to me, it's like, I've been working on it for so long that sometimes I'm like, just stop telling yourself that you can't do it. Stop that story, but people don't realize, not everybody even understands that whatever the percentage is, like, not every thought you have is factual. Not every thought you have is truth. I mean, like, we think our thoughts are like realities about ourselves, but they aren't always. And so you can't believe every single story, every single thought that pops into your head like it's a factual truth about you, because they're not always, and people don't always understand that.
Yes, yeah. And that's where, like, the power of thoughts is so important, isn't it? To realise that, I love Louise Hay, Hay's quote, "Your thoughts are becoming your reality." And that's why it is so important to keep check of your thoughts, because you do have control over them. As in, you don't have control perhaps over the initial thought that pops into your head, but you have control whether you're going to listen to that. You have control whether you're going to decide, actually, no, we're going to rewrite that negative automatic thought, and we can see it in a different way. It's very important to do that.
Yeah, and even you saying, like, you have control over your thoughts, that within itself, that statement within itself is often a limiting belief. Like, a lot of my clients who suffer from anxiety or depression actually don't believe that they have control over their thoughts. So that's often where I find I'm starting, is like, well, let's just start with that single limiting belief that you feel you don't have control over your thoughts. That is really deterring our healing journey if you continue to live every day believing that story, that you don't have control over your thoughts, because actually you do. And you need to start telling yourself that you do before we move forward in this journey. That limiting belief within itself is such a strong one.
Yes. Yeah.
That's where I start. And that's on both sides. I mean, I think as an entrepreneur too, a lot of entrepreneurs, you probably see this too, like, just really struggle with imposter syndrome and confidence along with that. And it's like, they're going into starting a business believing that, like, even as a coach, like, there's so many coaches out there. We could easily tell ourselves in the beginning, like, this market's saturated. There's no way that I'm going to stand out as a coach. But why would you want to go into business telling yourself that? Why would you want to go into business already limiting yourself and holding yourself back with that kind of a belief or thought? You're just shooting yourself in the foot. That's so silly. Yeah. But people don't always realize that.
Yeah. And I think one of the important things to realize is that even if the market is busy and it is saturated, there's still only one you, know, and that is such a powerful message, I think, to remember, is that, because even I go through this myself, that actually there's still only one you. So even on the days where you perhaps feel crappy and you feel like you're not good enough, and you feel like, why am I putting all this effort in? Is anyone even going to read this blog, or is anyone even going to listen to this podcast? Yeah. Well, there will be someone out there that needs it, and there'll be someone that needs to hear it from you. And I've really learned that as well in delivering the program that I'm doing at the moment, because I know that some of the women in there just need to hear this message from me. And it's as simple as that. So when those moments of self-doubt kick in and you feel like quitting everything, just realise that, there's going to be someone who does need to hear your voice. And, that's, for me, is enough. If I'm serving one person and it helps to change even one person's life for the better, then as a therapist, that's my job done, and that does make me feel happy. That makes me feel like that sense of purpose in life.
Yeah, I love that. So how do you, and maybe it's not like a step-by-step thing that you do, but how do you go about helping clients rewrite their limiting beliefs? Like, do you have a process that you go through with them to help them to acknowledge those limiting beliefs, rewrite them, and embed those new empowering beliefs into their subconscious, into their mindset?
Yes. So I have developed a framework. Now, this is all
Nice.
going to be in the book that's going to be published
Oh,
in
that's
Jan
exciting.
26.
Okay.
So I'm not going to expose too much of it.
No, definitely.
It is all going to be in there. And
Great.
I will be revealing more and more about that later in the year
Awesome.
when it goes into the pre-sale phase. But I do basically, yes, there's a framework that I help support my clients through. So elements of that do include sort of helping the client to realise their self-esteem story. So what are they telling themselves? Where is that developed? How have they come to believe these things about themselves? And then, raising their awareness, helping them to realise how much, that may be impacting on their lives and their choices in life that they're making, from the relationships that they may be in, friendships, to the work that they do. Just really helping them make those connections. And of course, acknowledging that change takes time and that it can feel scary and that there's going to be resistance and uncertainty. And it's, about helping people to realise the things that they may come up against as well, like, changes in relationships and, sometimes ultimately making the biggest move of your life. Like when I decided to separate from my ex-husband, because I knew that it had to be done. For me to be able to live a happy and fulfilled life, I couldn't stay in that relationship.
Right.
But that didn't mean it was easy. It wasn't an easy thing to do.
No.
And it's not always as extreme as getting divorced, That's not going to happen to everyone.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is it really is, I guess, sometimes about realising what choices you're making and what choices you've made that are actually made from a place of fear, uncertainty, of unworthiness.
Yeah.
And once you start to make those connections, we can start to break free from those and really step into what we've heard, I'm sure you've heard the concept of a higher power, higher self. And I do believe that when we work through this process that we can get to this entity of living from that higher self, and that higher self then, can be doing things like running their own business. It can be, writing a book. It can be coaching women. These are some of the things that I'm doing.
Right.
Your higher self, you're on your journey, so you will be doing different things. The listeners out there, Stefanie, you're called to different callings than I am, and that's the beauty. Is it's about finding, more out about yourself. So that I really like to think of like serving other people. Being an entrepreneur for me, it's not just about making money. It is about serving people and helping people to become the best version of themselves, which I know, Stefanie, you're also really aligned in that way, which is why I wanted to do this podcast, because your ethos just sort of spoke to mine. Yeah,
100%. Yeah, I agree. And there is something to be said about accessing that higher self that, you're just, for me anyways, it just felt like I was finally living in alignment. Like everything I was doing was soul aligned, and the people I was spending time with, like, were people that I authentically, or people that I could show up authentically around. And like you talk about like needing to end that marriage, like, unfortunately, sometimes when you step into that higher version of yourself, some relationships do, or some relationships don't follow you into that journey. And, I've kind of gotten to a point where I just normalize that for people because, this is a part of life. There's some friendships or some relationships that were only meant for a certain season of your life. And that's okay if they don't follow you, but it doesn't mean we're ending it in bad faith. It doesn't mean that you're burning bridges. It served a purpose for you when it did. And, maybe it's just not going to serve a purpose for you moving forward. And that's okay. It just means acknowledging that you were grateful for what you did gain from that relationship, and that you're just ready for something more. And it's been such an enlightening journey accessing that higher self for me. And so I as you probably feel, like, I just want that so much for others. It's just been such a personally rewarding feeling for me. And that's a big reason I feel I went into coaching, is like, everybody needs to experience this way of living, let go of those old stories. They weigh you down like shackles. They just really weigh you down, bring you down mentally and emotionally. And when you can break free from that, that freedom is just unlike anything else in life. And so we all need to experience that. We all need to be living life as our most authentic version of ourselves, and let go of what ego has you sometimes believing, and just show up as the best version of you. And doing what truly brings you joy and what truly brings you contentment in life. And stop doing what what people think you should be doing, or what society thinks you should be doing. Like, do what brings you authentic joy and contentment in life. Go after that. And that's what life's all about at the end of the day, is doing what truly makes you happy and brings you that authentic joy and contentment. That's how I feel.
Yeah, no, I love that. I totally agree. And as you were talking there, I was like just feeling like that's what, for me, entrepreneurship is about.
Yes.
It allows you, it gives you a key to exactly what you were talking about, Stefanie.
Yeah. So, and it's actually so interesting working with entrepreneurs, specifically for me, female entrepreneurs, but it's so, we all have a different calling. And so it's so interesting. I'm only working with I'm currently working with 3 coaching clients as I kick my coaching business off. And it's like, it's just so cool seeing what calling has been put on other women's hearts, and what lights them up is so different from what lights me up. But like, that's their calling, right? Like, that's what's been put on their soul's journey for this lifetime. And it's so cool seeing like just the variety, and I agree. That's what I love about entrepreneurship, is like, we all had this calling, this desire put on our heart, and we're just going after it and making it a reality. And it's just so cool seeing all the different varieties of ideas and missions that women are going after. It's really inspiring.
And I think sometimes as well, just to acknowledge that it can feel scary stepping into that. So for me, as someone who has battled with self-esteem, to then have a calling that you've got to now go and tell people about your low self-esteem, and you're going to share like some really intimate struggles that you've had, that can feel very scary. And as a therapist as well, in our training, we're taught to not overshare our story with our clients, because it's about the client. Right. Of course, it's very different when you start to write books and you're doing like group coaching. It almost becomes a necessity to share, because through that sharing, it can really help other people. And that authenticity as well. And that's something that since my entrepreneurship journey, I've like battled with, things like, how do you show up online? How much do I want to share of myself or not? And how much of that is because I don't feel I'm good enough, and versus how much of that is because I feel like I've got to do this. So all these interesting kind of like conversations that I guess I have with myself. But at the heart of it, I know that if I keep in mind the client and what somebody is going to hopefully gain from my sharing, that helps me to step into that place and into that position, and into things like writing a book as well, and sharing myself what feels like with the world.
Yeah, I agree. I can totally relate with the social media side of things. I mean, I don't know about you, but like in the beginning when I was first starting my professional Instagram page, that childhood wound, that grade school wound came up again. And it was like, why do I care so much about what these people think? They're not even a part of my life anymore. But that was initially where my mind went, was like, what will those people think of me? And it's like, but they're not your ideal client or customer, so who cares? But that, I don't know, social media just triggers those wounds a little bit when you like have to think about showing up authentically for your ideal listeners, ideal clients, ideal customers. But it does hit on that wound.
It definitely does. And I think many people do battle with that and struggle with that. But I think again, it's just stepping into this higher version of yourself and not being scared, you know, knowing that it's okay to feel a bit of fear. That's natural, it's human. But doing it anyway, you know, that great book by Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I don't know if you've read that one. See, you look thoughtful there, Stefanie. It's a lovely book.
Feel the fear and do it anyway?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, Susan Jeffers.
Love it. I'm definitely going to look that up. Okay. Awesome. Well, before we completely wrap things up, is there anything that you want listeners to know? Any up and coming projects or events or anything? I know you alluded to the book a little bit, but is there anything more you want to share about that even, or just anything you want listeners to know that we haven't shared yet?
Yeah, well, with the book not being in print yet, I won't share too much about that, but maybe later in the year, we might meet up again where I can share more about that. But for now, I'd really like to, I guess, offer an extension to your listeners to, if some of the things that we've talked about in this podcast have resonated in terms of like that self-esteem, working on that mindset, then is maybe to come and join the funded project, because it starts again in April. So it will be recurring again. I'm currently running some sessions at the moment. We're currently in session 6 out of 8, but I'm starting again in April. And even if you're listening to this years down the line, it's very possible that it's still going to be running at some point. So just go over to my website and get onto the waiting list. But also I will provide my 7 steps to your, what's it called? Let me just, step up to your higher self. I've got a lovely challenge for people to do as well that you can download for free off my website. Where it just takes you through some steps that you can do to start to explore and discover your higher self. So I'd love to leave those resources for your readers. Not readers. I'd love to leave those resources for your podcast listeners. I'm sure you'll be able to attach them to the links.
Yeah, I love that idea. Great. Okay, love it. And that's open to anyone around the world?
So it's initially funded in England, but because it's an online, anyone can sign up. I'm currently working with people in America at the moment, Sweden, lots of people signed up. So, yes.
That's amazing.
I want this to be worldwide.
That is a huge accomplishment, Natasha. I'm blown away by that.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's so cool. And then the book next. So you've got big things.
It means a lot to me to be delivering this work and to be able to let people join and to not have to charge them anything is, it's very rewarding. I think just testament to the higher self that to make this possible. Honestly, sometimes I do things and I don't even know how they've been made possible. So I really do feel that's a big part of my journey.
Absolutely.
And again, if that resonates with you, then I'd love people to work with me.
Awesome. Speaking of, earlier we were talking about stepping into fear with the book coming in a year or a little less than that. And just everything that you do, from therapy to coaching to now the book, is public speaking in your future by chance? Or is that a big area of fear for you? Or
that's fantastic. You know what? That's fantastic. That's like the little nudge from the universe.
Really? Okay.
I needed. Yeah. It very much is on my, shall we say, to-do list.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It is. In fact, I'm currently in talks with, over here in England, we have a festival called the Mind, Body and Spirit Festival that they run a couple of times a year. So I'm actually been pitching for that. I've got to get in contact with them in July. It won't be till later in the year. So yes, that is very much on my radar.
Very cool.
And again, I have done public speaking before in previous roles, but I've not done it for quite some time. So it is going to require that stepping up again. It is going to be another level of work that I'm going to have to do. but
Yeah,
I
hear
feel
you.
it's essential. And I do feel like, you know, my book, you often, when you write a book, I've heard other authors say that you kind of live the book. And I feel that that is the next step, is to be on a stage and to be doing some like big event, because that's going to be pushing me to another level. And that's what the book is all about.
I love that. I have the same itch. There is a big part of me that's like, I even have on my vision board, like just a picture of a brunette from behind on stage. And part of my daily affirmations is like, I'm going to speak to my ideal audience in 2025. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't care how small or big it is. I did public speaking, dabbled in it in a completely different role 5 years ago, and haven't really done much since, but I feel you. It's scary, of course, like anything. I mean, you know, like you said earlier, in the therapy world, we're very much supposed to like hold back and not be vulnerable and share about ourselves. But I don't know, there's that fear, but like the healthy fear of like getting on stage and speaking to people, and it's there, and it's a real desire. So I definitely can relate, but I love that you're like already putting things into action to make that manifest in your life. I love it. Beautiful.
Yeah, and I just want to say as well, in terms of the book, just while we're on the subject of sort of vision boards and manifesting and like setting that intention, at the beginning of last year, so I had already started my journey towards approaching like writing this book. But I was rejected, first of all, by, when I say rejected, I know that's perhaps a bit of a strong word, but my book proposal in 2023 wasn't like put forward. They wanted me to go away and rethink some of the ideas. No guarantee that it would, you know, result in a book publishing deal. But at the beginning of January 2023, I wrote on my vision board, published book 2024.
Awesome.
And yes, it's not in print yet, but I started the process. I gained my book deal in 2024, the very year that I wrote it on my vision board. So I had already started working towards that. I actually wrote it on there, and so the power, there is definitely power in a vision board, in setting those intentions, in, you know, the energy that you create around attracting things into your life. It's, you know, it really does work. It really does.
Yes, it does. Yeah, well said. Very well said. Awesome. Well, I will put the links to all of that in the show notes for listeners who feel, you know, that you resonate with them, that your message resonates with them, or they just feel inclined. Maybe this is another nudge from the universe for them that they need to act on this. I'll put all the links in the show notes so they can reach out and maybe make that happen for themselves. I like to end all of my collabs with some rapid fire questions, if that's all right.
Yes, go for it. You did warn me about this, so go for it.
Good deal. So what is a small habit or ritual that makes you feel like that next level version of yourself?
So for me, it has to be exercise. Like, that is a really big part of my self-development, as in what I mean by that is just like looking after myself, challenging myself. I love the gym because it's like me on me, if that makes sense. So that is definitely one of mine.
I love it. Awesome. What's one piece of advice that, if you could give to your younger self, that you would say?
It's believe. Just believe. It's as simple as that. Just believe in, you know, I know it might sound cliche, but just believe in yourself. On my WhatsApp, my little slogan is, you've got to believe it to achieve it. And I do really live by that.
That's beautiful. That's great. If you could manifest one dream instantly, what would it be?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a hard one. Gosh,
I know.
I could manifest anything right now.
I know.
If I say it. You know, since we were talking on the subject of speaking, that I'll be an international speaker, and that I will have big companies from around the globe wanting to hire me as their speaker.
Yes, I love that. Yeah, for real. That's such a good one. I love that, because so many companies could benefit from someone coming in and talking to their employees about self-esteem, about confidence, about, you know, self-worth. Like, oh yeah, that's a good one. I love that. Okay. what is a dream destination that's on your vision board right now?
Oh, a dream destination. I've been eyeing up the Maldives. That's
Ooh,
where
yeah.
I really want to go. I've not been there, and I saw someone posting pictures on Instagram a few weeks ago, and I'd already been toying with this idea. So when I saw these pictures, I was like, okay, this is a sign. That's where I need to go. So yeah, that's definitely definitely on the list.
I love that. All right. What's one thing that you're currently working on manifesting in your life? I mean, I feel like we talked about a lot of them, but
yeah. So this is a hard one because I have a long list of things.
I bet you do. I can relate, Natasha.
Manifest. It's more a choice of like, which one do I want to share today?
That's
which
fair.
one do I feel drawn to share with you today? I think I'm just going to stick with my book, and the reason why I'm saying that is because it's in process. It's happening, but I'm still working on it. I'm still in the editing phase, so I'm still birthing the book into the world. So that's the one I'm going to choose because it's one of my biggest manifestations yet. The book is. So we're still in it. Can't wait to hold it. Honestly,
I believe it. I completely believe it. My husband just last night, so he published a children's book in 2024, and we just got the paperback copy last night through Amazon. And so it was a very big deal, very celebratory environment in our house last night, like taking pictures and putting it out into the social media world. And
I assume that might be on your social. Yeah. Have a look at that.
Yeah, he actually wrote it 10 years ago, or him and his best friend wrote it 10 years ago. And then they just finally took it upon themselves last year to like put the work into getting it published and illustrated and all the things. And so, I definitely understand. It's just been so great to see the excitement in him. And so I can just imagine how good that's going to feel when you're finally holding it like in hand. Like, I did this. It's such an amazing personal accomplishment to be able to say you wrote a book. So
I think the thing about it is leaving that legacy. What are you leaving? What's your imprint that you're leaving in the world? And that's why I love Louise Hay, founder of Hay House. I love her story. She is like the ultimate female entrepreneur. She started her business at, I can't remember what age. I'm sure it's in her 60s. I think may even be a little bit older than that. I may be lying, but she's just amazing. And her ethos, the work that she does, it really still carries through with working with Hay House. And I knew that I wanted to write my book with them because of that. So that's really special to me.
That's amazing.
Because her whole business is built on helping and supporting other people. And it just, again, that felt aligned for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. I can't wait for your book to come out. I'm so excited for you. And I just think, that's just the beginning for you. I mean, you're going to get into public speaking and things are just going to continue to elevate from there. I'm so excited for you. And I'm so grateful that I actually trusted my gut and followed this nudge and reached out to you, because it was a little bit of a I don't know. I tend to put other practitioners on pedestals because I still feel like I'm new in the arena, but I was just very grateful that you agreed to come on the podcast. And I just really appreciate you being willing to share your story and willing to share with my listeners. I have no doubt this is going to be a powerful episode for just the people that really need to hear it out there. So thank you again for agreeing to come on. And
thank you.
Definitely.
It's an honor to be on your podcast. Never have that thought. Reach out to whoever you feel drawn to. Because it was very easy for me to accept your invitation to come on, and I hope that this will be your most downloaded episode. There we go. I'm going to manifest that.
Absolutely, just put it out there. I appreciate that. And just like I say at the end of every episode, you guys, if any of this really resonated with you, I absolutely love getting DMs from listeners. So please bother me with your DMs. Just let me know what really resonated with you. Let me know what really stood out to you. And I'm assuming Natasha would not mind hearing from you as well. So just feel free to give her a follow and check out her website. She has so much to offer, but go on her Instagram page and just really dive into her stuff. It's all just so valuable. As both a therapist and a coach, she's got a lot to offer. And someday down the road, I hope you'll be ordering her book as well. So thank you again, Natasha, for coming on. And until next time, you guys, I will talk to you all next week.
Real quick before you go, I just want to thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. And congratulations on showing up for you. Every step you take to invest in yourself brings you that much closer to your next level self, and I'm so proud of you. If you loved this episode, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or take a screenshot and tag me on socials so we can keep spreading the next level you energy. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Let's freaking go!